right, guys, let's do our, we're going to look at our history and our health. So you need to have your health book with your history book out there. Today we have a skill map that we're also going to do a map skill that I sent in your packet, and it's number 24. So we'll look at that. You can do that later, but we'll look at it to make sure we know what we're doing. But it's pretty self-explanatory. And it has to do with this map that I have right up here on the back behind me. And this is our western states, and this is the map that you're going to see on your next quiz and test. So we need to be familiar with all of these different states. All right, I'm going to point to a state. You tell me which one I am pointing to. Here in the yellow, Colorado. Up above it, Wyoming, and above that, Montana. Good. What's here in the purple? Utah. What's above Utah? Idaho. What's here in the green? Nevada. In the red, California. The yellow, Oregon. The purple, Washington. Up here, Alaska. And down here, Hawaii. Good. Who can tell me the fact we remember about Colorado? It has one of the largest rodeos in the United States, and that's in Denver each year. How about in Wyoming? The first national park, Yellowstone National Park. How about in Montana? Yeah, there's a city right here. It's called Miles City. It's about right here, and it's known as the cowboy capital of the United States. What about Utah? Yeah, the Rocky Mountains near the Great Salt Lake. They can get up to 500 inches of snow a year. That's crazy. Idaho, the potato capital. Nevada, they produce the most gold, don't they, of any of the states. How about California? It has one of the hottest places in the United States, Death Valley, and it can get to be how hot? What did we say, 115 degrees? Oh, that's hot. How about Oregon? It became a state on Valentine's Day, didn't it? 1859. Washington produces the most apples. About Alaska. We can fit 425 Rhode Islands, state of Rhode Island, into Alaska. And Hawaii. It has its own time zone. Very good. We've been studying the last couple days and looking at a little bit on the life of George Washington Carver. So I want you to turn to page 273. This is a fairly short lesson, but our health lesson is a little longer today. So we want to get through this. We see that George loves the outdoors, doesn't he? He has secret places in the woods he loves to go, and some of you are like that too. You love to go outside. You love to be in the woods. And he loved to examine all the plants and everything, and he wanted to see how it grew and why it wasn't growing and see what he could do to help it. People, if their plants were dying, they would bring them to him, and he'd figure out what's wrong. They called him the plant doctor. Well, Aunt Sue saw George's desire. She saw that he wanted to learn. He just wanted to learn so much. So she taught him how to read and how to spell. Well, he wanted to go to school. He said, Aunt Sue, I've got to go to school. But she said, George, there are no schools close by. You can't walk back and forth. The nearest school was 18 miles away. You can't walk to school and walk home from school every day. If you go, you're going to have to stay there. He said, that's fine. I'll stay there. I'll find a place to stay. But I want to go to school. You know how old he was? He was 10. And so Aunt Sue packed him a bag and packed him a snack, a little lunch along the way, and off he went. He was walking to the town of Neosho. And in Neosho, they had a one-room schoolhouse. And he was going to go to this school. And he was only 10 years old. And off he went. And he got there, and very early the next morning, as he traveled all day, he was at the Lincoln School, and this was named for Abraham Lincoln. So that's pretty interesting, isn't it? And he thought, boy, I am tired. I've got to find some place for me to sleep tonight. And he saw off in the distance a barn. And he thought, you know, I could sleep in that barn. There'll be hay, there'll be straw. That will be nice and comfortable. So he went to the barn. He climbed up into the loft of the barn, and he had a good night's sleep. Well, the next morning he woke up. He's ready to go to school, but he hasn't had anything to eat. And he's really very hungry. And he's like, what am I going to do for food? And as he came out of the barn, there was a house, a cabin just nearby that belonged with the barn. And the lady of the house, she came out onto the porch and she saw this little boy come out of the barn. And she's like, "Who are you? What do you want here, young man?" And George proceeded to tell her how he wants to go to school and how he wants to learn. And he walked 18 miles and he spent the night and he's just there to learn. And it touched her so much. She said, "Well, you know what, George, why don't you go get some firewood and let's make some breakfast." So she took him in, and from then on, she said, "This is my husband. His name is Andy Watkins, and my name is Mariah. So you can call him Uncle Andy, and you can call me Aunt Mariah." And she smiled, and God was watching over him the whole time. This was a 10-year-old boy. But God had these people prepared and ready, and they took him in. They became like his family while he went to the school in Neosho. He said, "I can help around here. I know how to wash clothes." So he helped her around the house, and he would often prop up his school book while he was doing the laundry, and he would be reading and trying to study, and he cooked and he cleaned and he did so many chores around the house. And you know what Aunt Mariah taught him? She taught him even how to iron clothes. So George is learning a lot of things. He's learning things not just in his books, but he's learning how to work around the house and use his hands and be obedient and be helpful. And God was watching over this young man. Now that's all the further we're going to go today. That was pretty short, wasn't it? But that's okay. We're going to learn a little bit more we haven't even learned about what he has done yet as an adult. And it's pretty fascinating. And some of you already know some of the things he did with peanuts and sweet potatoes, but we're going to read about that. But we can see as a young age, God was looking out. Do you know God is looking out for you too? He's watching over you. And George just totally trusted God. And God provided everything that he needed. What a testimony. And we need to be able to trust God that much. Well, in our map skill book, number 24, hey, guess what it looks like? It looks like this map right here. You are going to be writing, find the number, and write the name of the state over here on the side. If you need to use the back of your history book, you'll find that map in there. Make sure that you spell the names correctly. All the states get a capital letter, so make sure you give a capital letter. And we use cursive handwriting. Some of you, I need to remind you, when you do papers for me, do not print. I don't care if it's a worksheet or if it's a test. You are to be writing in cursive. So some of you are getting into a habit of printing, and I don't want it. I want cursive, all right? So make sure you do that. All right, I'm going to put these books aside. You get your health book, and I'm going to get mine too. I'm going to get mine too. Tomorrow you have a quiz in health. So we do want to get through our material today, and you have a study sheet for that quiz tomorrow. Today we're going to talk about, we're on page 48, carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. A lot of foods contain carbohydrates. A lot of you have so much energy. You go out and you run and you play, and then you go ride your bike, and then you want to jump on the trampoline, and then in the summer you want to go swimming, and mom and dad are like, where do they get all that energy that they have? Well, we do get our energy. We get it from carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the sugars and the starches that are in the foods that we eat. Now, there are carbohydrates in a lot of different foods, a lot of sugars in some foods. Some are good for us and some are not so good for us. So we have to be careful how much sugar that we take in. Your body will change that starch from that carbohydrate food, and it's going to change it into sugar, and then it changes the sugar into energy, okay? So carbohydrates are going to provide for us the starch that's in that carbohydrate is going to provide the sugar, and the body changes the sugar into energy. Your body needs vitamins and minerals to change that sugar into energy. So you see how it all goes together? If you don't have the vitamins and minerals in your foods, you're not going to be able to change the sugars that are in the foods into energy. And it's kind of it's a cycle. If you don't have, and you can't change those sugars it's going to turn not into energy, but you're going to, if you get too much, you're going to have to be careful. The more active you are, the more your body's going to need. And if you're not real active, you don't need as many. And it will sometimes turn into fat if you don't use up all these carbohydrates and sugars. But you can find these things in fruits and vegetables. You can find them in whole grain breads, cereals, seeds, nuts, dried beans, peas, honey. These are all good sources of carbohydrates. On page 49, fiber. Now, fibers are the parts of the food that your body does not digest. Okay, your body doesn't digest everything. And fibers help your body get rid of the waste materials. The parts that you don't eat, they gotta come out. And the parts that your body can't use, it's gotta come out. And fiber will help your body do that. When grains are refined, the fiber, as well as some of the nutrients, are removed. Eating whole grain foods that still have fiber and nutrients in them will help your body to operate as it should. Whole grain breads and cereals contain more vitamins, minerals, and fiber than white breads and refined cereals. All right, turn the page, please. Fats and oils. Everyone needs to eat some fats and oils in order to be healthy. You can find these in olive oil, butter, cheese, whole milk, egg yolks, nuts, peanuts, butter, seeds. Although you need to eat some fats and oils, the problem is most people eat too many. Too many. Your fried foods, your gravies, your donuts, they all contain fats and oils. You eat these foods too often, you're probably eating more fats and oils than you need. Train yourself to pick healthy choices. Now, if you don't get enough to eat and you're not eating the right kinds of food, on page 51 it talks about what you may be. Poor nutrition is called malnutrition. If your body's not well nourished, it cannot grow, it cannot function properly. Now, there are none of us in our room that are malnutritioned. Not a one of us. We eat plenty. Okay, I see your lunches when you come in. All right, so we have to be careful though about the kinds of foods that we eat. It's important to eat those right kinds of food. And it's important that you chew your food. Your digestion, it's very important to chew your food enough because you're breaking it down before the body has to work to break it down in your digestive system. In your mouth, in your teeth, and the saliva, that's all part of the digestive system. And so chew the food properly. Don't eat too fast, okay? And enjoy it. People who don't get enough healthy foods can get diseases caused by a lack of vitamins and minerals. I want you to turn the page. This page is the food labels. And these are very important. There's a lot of information on the packages that you buy in the store that can be very helpful whether or not this is going to be good for you. First of all, you can see the example here. They're going to give you a date. This is the date, they stamp on it. This is the date that it's best to be sold by and used by. Just the other day, 2 days ago, I was in a store and I bought a half a gallon of chocolate milk because Drew likes chocolate milk, my husband likes chocolate milk. So I bought a half gallon chocolate milk. No big deal, right? Got it home. My husband pours a big tall glass of it and he said, there's something wrong with this milk. And my husband's a dairy farmer. He said, there's something wrong with this milk. So I said, let me taste it. I tasted it. I said, oh, it tastes funny. It wasn't sour, but it tasted funny. And I said, oh, I looked at the date that was stamped on the jug. It was outdated. So you know what I did? I called that store and I said, I don't want my money back, but you need to know that you have milk on your shelves that is outdated. They said, oh, thank you. They were going to go take it off the shelf. But that's what the date's there for. You don't want to eat foods that are outdated. The date is on there for a reason. Another thing that you're going to find on this label, you're going to find ingredients. What's in it? Do you know the very first thing that's listed is what there is the most of? And I know some of you that are in 4-H or just starting into 4-H, and one of the things that you have to do is you're going to have to read a label, a feed label. And they're going to teach you that the first ingredient is what that is the most of. That's the same way with our food labels. And if sugar is the very first thing, that is the most that there is of something in that particular food is sugar. Oh, always. And it's going to tell you how many servings. Just because you have a big thing of ice cream, you say, oh, that's one serving. No, it's not. You look on that label. It might say that's 4 servings. That means that you can take out enough for 4 servings out of that one little tub. And then the calories per serving. You say, well, it's only 200 calories. That's per serving. So if there are 8 servings in whatever you have, and it's 200 calories per serving, it's not 200 calories for the whole thing. It's 1,600 calories. Now, depending on your age, depending upon if you are a boy or a girl, it will tell how active you are, how many calories you need in your body every day, because you're going to burn them off. It's when you don't burn them off, okay, that it becomes a problem. So reading a food label, and we can see the serving size, the calories, and then it tells you all the different things that are in it. Why does it matter? Why does it matter what we put in our body? Of course it matters. We want to keep our bodies healthy. A poor diet does not keep your body healthy. You can't fight off diseases if you're not eating properly. So eat proper. You say, oh, I don't like some of those foods. I don't either, but there are other things that are just as healthy that maybe you do like. And maybe you haven't even tried it before. Give it a try. You might find out that it's not too bad after all. Another thing that we find in things is caffeine. Now, caffeine is naturally found in some types of plants, and you'll find caffeine naturally in coffee beans. So I don't think any of you are drinking an awful lot of coffee. I hope not yet, but Mom and Dad might be drinking the coffee. It's going to find some caffeine. Coffee, tea, soft drinks. They are not good substitutes for water. Okay, water is your best option. And I'm preaching to me today too. Okay, water is my best option. Sometimes these things have too much caffeine. There's too much sugar in some of these drinks. Scientists have discovered that some things we put in our bodies can help prevent cancer. And fruits, vegetables, fiber, and water, they help your body to work the way it should. So eating of the proper things are going to help you in the long run. So that's why a good diet is so important. To help keep your body healthy, you can decide now that you will never do some things. Decide right now you're never going to smoke. That is not healthy for your body. Decide right now you're never going to drink alcohol. That is not good for your body. Decide right now you're never going to take harmful drugs. That is not good for your body. God has told us to take care of this body that He has given to us. So let's not put things into it that we are going to harm our bodies. We have a quiz tomorrow. And let me find the right page here. You have the different vitamins, okay? And it's a matching section. Remember, vitamin D is the sunshine vitamin. Vitamin C we get from the citrus, like oranges and grapefruit. Vitamin A, we know that we get it from animals and it helps us see at night. B, vitamin B, there's 8 different B vitamins. Vitamin K, it helps our blood to clot. Vitamin E, it protects your cells from damage. It helps us fight off disease. So that's a matching section, okay? So look at those vitamins. You'll have to match them up. And then there's a couple fill in the blanks. The mineral that helps your bones and teeth grow strong, the mineral that does that is calcium. Calcium is the mineral that will help your bones and teeth. The sugars and starches in your foods, we just talked about that today. Those are carbohydrates. Iron is an important, it helps build healthy blood. We're lifting and pumping iron, building muscles, but iron in our body helps us with healthy blood. And table salt, that is the sodium that we need in our body. And then you have some true or false. Remember, the ability to do work the ability to do work is energy. It's energy, okay? The ability to do work. Lifting my hand, talking. It's the ability to do work. It's energy. Your body needs proteins to help build muscle. Nutrients that are made in the cells of plants and animals are called vitamins. And minerals are nutrients from the soil that are found in many of the food groups. And fiber are the parts of grains, fruits, and vegetables that your body does not digest, okay? We do not digest fiber. It's good for our body. It helps us get things out and get the waste away from our body, okay? So prepare for that for tomorrow in health, all right? Good job today, guys, and we will see you later.